Did you say we had a few messages from the last video? Did you clear these messages? Did you listen to them, screen them? You remember the last time? Let's hear them.
You have a collect call from Rikers.
Next call.
Hi, this is Sally from Popeye's Chicken, and I just want to let you know that
I don't even eat here.
3, not 1, not 2, but 3 orders.
You didn't screen these calls.
And every time you don't pick up your chicken, that chicken just goes to waste. It goes to waste. I have to get it.
Let's start the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mahoning Drive-In Theater, the largest single-screen drive-in in the United States. We're certainly glad you could be with us this evening. And don't forget the concession stand is open with all kinds of great things to eat and drink.
Welcome back to Shaun Spins. This is episode 48, and I'm your host, Shaun, and I hope everyone is safe and well. We're doing one of my favorite albums this week, Locust Abortion Technician from the Butthole Surfers. I've been wanting to do this review and this record for a long time. And what's been holding me back is part of the review I wanted to make a little music with the guitar and a vocal, and I just haven't had the time, and I finally sat down this week, and a big reason I sat down is when I heard of the passing of one of the drummers from the Butthole Surfers, Teresa Taylor. And when I was first reading about her passing, a lot of the articles talked about a movie she acted in called Slacker. And I've seen the movie before, and to me it wasn't that great. When I kept reading these articles, all I kept thinking about was the band. I was like, why aren't they talking about the band more? To me, her influence on music to me is so great. Between the Butthole Surfers rhythm section, Jane's Addiction's rhythm section, and Bow Wow Wow's rhythm section, this was a huge influence on me growing up and making music and what music can be. Now, the Butthole Surfers are a Texas band. And fortunately for me, I had an experience traveling to Texas. About 4 or 5 years ago, I took my parents. And one of the things I was extremely excited about is I remember one record store in particular had a separate section for Daniel Johnston and the Butthole Surfers. And I've never seen that before. Usually, there's not even a section. So it was amazing to me to see that. Now, I have 2 copies of this record. I picked up an older copy in Texas from Touch and Go Records. And I have a repress from years and years and years ago. I don't play the original too much. I'm afraid I'm going to wear it out. The repress, I'm wearing it out. Definitely. It's already got poppings and it's got all kinds of noises in it. I play it so often. For the longest time, I played side 1 all the time. I rarely would flip it over. Then I'd flip it over and go, gee, side 2 is just as good. The band to me is just amazing. Just amazing. This is one of their older albums. Came out in 1987. Now, for me, most people came familiar with the Butthole Surfers around Electric Larryland in the mid-90s. Yet, I always heard about the Butthole Surfers from other bands. Recently, I was watching a video on YouTube where the person mentioned they got into listening to the Misfits because they saw Metallica wearing their shirts and wanted to know about the band. And it's a little bit like that for me with the Butthole Surfers. I would hear other bands talk about them like Mudhoney. Flea talks about them in the song Deep Kick from the One Hot Minute album from the mid-90s. Chris from Nirvana would talk about them. I knew Kurt Cobain loved them. He loved Scratch Acid too, another Texas band. And another thing that got me into the Butthole Surfers, they seemed to always be around when I was growing up skateboarding, particularly the early days for me skateboarding. I remember the Butthole Surfers, the song Human Cannonball, the band Agent Orange, and the Buzzcocks with Boredom. Those 3 songs and some others I always think of as early days for me skateboarding in the 1980s. This album, though, just means the world to me. Like I said, I like every song on the album. Some of it is just the sound of like farm animals and like guitars and stuff in reverse. There's vocal tracks being messed with, all kinds of stuff. There's a phone call. One track is a musician from Thailand. They took the song and just redid it a little bit and added things to it. The whole album is it's just amazing. It really is. Now, maybe I got more into the band too because I grew up liking the Velvet Underground, and they use that technique sometime of music droning, but yeah, for some reason the Butthole Surfers just took it to another level. This combination, I imagine, like with punk rock and just using sound artistically and using it to make just beautiful art. Not just playing like a verse, chorus, verse, but just putting sounds together, things going backwards, vocal tracks being sped up, all kinds of stuff going on. Now, one of the things I like a lot about this album too is it's not recorded in a big studio. They decided to record it themselves after having a couple experiences in a big studio. Now, nowadays, that's kind of normal. And people might record music at home on a computer, but back then, not so much. Making their own music, not afraid to not go into a big studio, to me, it just makes the music sound great. And that's one of the ways I like to record music, just as lo-fi as one can think. Now, as I said, there's not a song on this album I don't like. Not a song. A big-time favorite to me, like I said earlier, from growing up listening to it skateboarding, is Human Cannonball. Amazing rhythm section, the bass. Just an amazing song, full of a lot of emotion. About a breakup. There's a song on there called 22 Going on 23. It has a call-in, I imagine, to a radio show. And the person is talking about what happened to them with a sexual assault. A very powerful song. And I've read somewhere too, like it's pretty much the first time that topic was spoke about in music. To think about too, like 1987 when this came out, the same month, U2's Joshua's Tree album came out, and an album from Prince. And I imagine most people going to the record stores, those are the two records they bought, not the Butthole Surfers. This was not a record played on the radio. I don't remember them on MTV until much later. And I'm extremely glad I found the album. I cannot say more praise for this album. It's up there for me with David Bowie's The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust. It's that important to me. It's one of the reasons I have 2 copies of it. And it's one of those records I fear that I will wear out and not have it anymore. A little interesting fun fact, the cover of this album was painted by the same artist that did that famous picture of the dogs playing pool. I can imagine the artist did not listen to the music before painting the cover. Probably had no idea who the band was. Now, one of the things I wanted to do on this review, like I said earlier, is I wanted to make a song similar to the Butthole Surfers and making it on my own, very lo-fi, and I went really lo-fi. I recorded it all on iMovie, just a free program on the computer here. It's incredibly hard to level out the tracks on it. Doesn't work necessarily, but that's what made it kind of fun. And I sat down on the ground and put this song together, and I used a call I got on the phone quite some time ago. And I saved it because the person's voice was very haunting to me. So I'm going to include that at the end, and I hope you enjoy. And as I said, if you get a chance, check out the Butthole Surfers. It's an amazing band, experimenting with sound, and to me it sounds just as new today as it did 36 years ago. 36 years ago was futuristic, and I still feel that way today. I just love this album. So until next time, hope everybody's safe and well, and be nice to each other, and take care, and I hope you enjoy the song. So here's the track I made in tribute to the Butthole Surfers. No fancy microphones, just a little tiny mic built into the laptop sitting on a stool, and just put it together in iMovie. Separate things put together and try to overlay it. Hope you enjoy.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry you wasn't available at the time that I wanted to speak to you. My name is Joy, and the reason why I'm calling, because I wanted to just get your thought on this question. Do you think it's possible to enjoy life ever? What would you say? Yes, no, or maybe? Something to give great thought to. And the reason I ask this because the Bible can give you the answer. Psalms 37:29. This is what it tells us. The righteous will possess the earth, and they will live forever. And only a promise like that can only be made by our Creator who can truly fulfill it. So how you can find out how you can be a part of this, we offer a free Bible course. What you can do, you go to our website and once you get there, you tap on Learn More, and you will see several questions that this free Bible study course can answer. And our brochure entitled Enjoy Life Forever. I hope you get a chance to investigate it, because I'm sure you'll find it uplifting and upbuilding. And I'd like to call you back so we can talk personally. You take care. Good afternoon.